Hello everyone, I'm Vikas. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon based on your location. Today I'll be taking you through some of the enhancements that we have done for model build workflow. It was a short release, so there are a couple of key enhancements that we have done that I'll be showing to you, and later on I'll also run through some of the CAD Import Export enhancements that we have done for 2023.1. So first and foremost is map components to the part. This is a new functionality this is a purpose-built tool, and it allows you to align the existing legacy decks, which have components only and no parts, to a part hierarchy with a predefined structure. It uses currently the shape AI algorithm, the machine learning algorithm we have, and also the traditional bounding box method to accurately predict which component belongs to which part, and then arranges that part into that particular arranges that component into that particular part. You can you can see this functionality under organized menu as map components to parts. Some of the key benefits of this functionality are it offers quick and efficient resolution for customers dealing with numerous legacy models. So if your customers have a lot of models that have components only, but they would like to map it to the part hierarchy, then this tool is handy. It also allows users to transition the workflow towards part-based paradigm. And of course, overall legacy data management is optimized, and you bring the users into more in line with modern and efficient CAD practices. We do have a short demo video that shows this functionality. We are using our standard model for that. I do have a legacy model that has components only. And if you see, the process will run really quickly, and it will align these components into correct part. One thing you will notice when you are importing component only solver decks is you will see that there is a flat list of components in part browser if you're importing them. But with this method, you will be able to directly put them into the right hierarchy. One of the prerequisites is you should have a BOM hierarchy loaded in the session for this tool to be used. Otherwise, you'll be presented with an error message. This tool works on first shape AI algorithm. It tries to determine the part and put them correctly into, it tries to determine the shape of the component, and then it tries to put it correctly under correct part. And if that method doesn't give the expected results, then we go to traditional bounding box and work on the remaining components that have not been correctly put into the right part and try to associate them. At the end of this particular process, we do pop up a message. If all the components are correctly placed, then process complete message comes. If some of the components are not correctly placed into the right part, then we do pop up a message saying that 7 out of 8 components have been correctly placed into the right part, and you need to take action regarding the last component that is still orphan. This being one of the key requests from field for some time, we have managed to do it in a best possible fashion. The next enhancement is ribbon-based representation workflows. So most of us were aware that we already have a lot of ribbon-based workflows. Match is one of those examples, Classify is one of those examples. But for the part browser workflows, we are still working through the context menus. With 2023.1, those part browser workflows are also brought into the ribbon-based paradigm. You will see a new icon under build called reps. That icon will actually do most of our actions that you are doing through context menus. So it gives us improved visibility and ease of access. You don't have to be dependent on deeply embedded context menus. It also allows seamless execution of basic to advanced operation. We have provided all the operations that you can do through context menus. Of course, advanced options are hidden by default to give user a quick access to frequently used tools without overloading the new users with all the options. So by turning on the advanced option, you can do, again, all the operations that you could do with the context menus. And this is again an intuitive graphics centric interface. Of course, it works for both browser selection as well as graphics selection, and it aligns with our standard workflow. Again, I do have a short video showing this enhancement. As you can see, I don't have anything loaded in session, so I select a part in browser and do Control A, it selects all the parts, and I go with the load from the session. I'm loading the display representation here. Uh, it will load in a second. Yep, here it is. We can select then particular part in the graphic. Again, go to representation. This time we can decide to do uh, uh, create a representation core. I'm selecting course 5 again, even though it's available for the demo purpose. It will launch the batch measure in the backend, and it will start the meshing. So batch measure was running on the second screen, which I had to bring into the view for the recording. Now, if you go to the this advanced menu, you will see that we have show all actions option. And if you go and select a part, you will see that these many actions are available. These are advanced menus. We have also exposed all the settings, load settings, unload settings, save settings on this particular ribbon. So that way you can do all the operations that you're doing through context menu, you can actually do through ribbons. This is more intuitive, less clicks and less going into those deeply embedded context menus. It really helps with the efficiency. And this is one of the key features that we have for 2023.1. Other than these two features, we do have assembly ribbon reshuffle, wherein we are trying to limit the icons that are available, so that user doesn't have to go too much into onto the right side to access new icons. Collaborate is our organized browser. It has been in maintenance mode for some time now. It has been reshuffled and moved to a drop down here in the organized. So if you still want to access this, it's still available, but you'll have to go in organize and select collaborate, and also the subscribe, which was a satellite icon on collaborate. Then direct access to component assembly and include browser. These three has been removed from the ribbon to promote the best practices workflow. You can still invoke them from model browser via double click, but they will not be available as an icon. So as a result, we have a very simplified ribbon, which is not having too many icons, which doesn't promote the best practices workflow. Going on to the next one, we do have some additional updates that are important to everyone. One of them is we have upgraded the shared library version support. Until now, we are supporting the PostgreSQL 13.8 for part, subsystem, and material library operation. Uh, Sorry, it was support 10.1 was supported, and now we are moving to 13.8. Apologies for that. This is a newer and almost latest version of PostgreSQL that we are supporting. The documentation for installing and configuring this PostgreSQL 13.8 is a bit different than 10.1, but it is updated and available in our help. Also, the migration related steps are also available. If your customer wants to migrate from 10.1 to 13.8, then that migration steps are also included in the documentation. The next one is ease of access to material data. So in the last release, we introduced HMAMDC integration via context menus, but that was only exposed in the graphics. Now we have brought it out, and we are also supporting it for idle context. So if you select a material and select a part in your graphics, you can see library load from AMDC, which will take you to the AMDC page where you have to log in and download the material. So this is another small but significant enhancement. That concludes model build related updates. I'll move to CAD Import Export. I just have one slide for it. We do have done a lot of performance and infrastructure updates for CAD import export. So other than that, those updates, we do have some other updates that I want to bring your attention to. One of them is unified common preference to streamline CAD settings. If customers are dealing with multiple CAD formats, then there was always complaint that we have to go and set most of the settings individually. So taking this feedback in, we have also provided now a common preference wherein you can set all the common options in this one place, which will be then populated to the individual CAD, all of the individual CAD. If you want to have a CAD preference for one particular CAD different than the other CAD, then you can of course go and individually set them. But if you want to have a common setting across, then you don't have to actually go and find your CAD and set it. You can do it in the common section. and all the CAD will get it. This is latest NX version, that is NX 2306, and it is supported only for the native reader. This is a big enhancement because NX is always continuously updating their version, and we are trying to support the latest since customers are jumping onto it. So this is what is being used in market right now, 2306, and that is supported for the native reader. There was a request to read the product and manufacturing information from the JT files from the customers. So we have supported that as well in 2023.1. So once you import the JT files and if it has the PMI data, it will be shown as metadata. And layer filtering for NX third party is also implemented just like native readers. So if you have used the native readers, you know that we could always filter based on the layers, and now same functionality has been extended to even the third party, that is CT based readers. With that, I have concluded my part. I'll hand it over to Sophia.
Hi everybody, I'm Sophia and I'll take you through what's new in 23.1 from the browser side. Okay, we have this element categorization now come up in model browser. So here the element folder has been now classified based on the dimensions and their configs. So the dimensions being 0D, 1D, 2D, 3D, and whatever configs belongs to a particular dimension, it will now show up under that dimension. So let me quickly jump to the product and we'll see how it looks there. So as soon as you load a model or you have an elements folder, you're going to get this small drop down and you hit it. It's going to open up and show you the dimensions, the dimension level. And when you open the dimension level, it's going to give you the configs that are present under that particular dimension. And then upon opening the config, it's going to give you the keywords that a particular config holds. So quickly, I'm going to highlight all the perks that of having this kind of classification in the model browser. So the first one is previously or so far, we only got a holistic count of how many elements are present in our model. But now we are going to have that count classified based on the configs and in the dimension format. So user can quickly review from the model browser how many 0Ds or 1Ds are present in their model. That is, and again, this folder level opening, subfolder level opening is again available. So a user can quickly open a mask config and review it or edit it from here. Next up is I want to highlight the context menus. So any entity that's present in the model browser, we have the options in the context menu available. So that is made available even for the elements and their subfolders today. Say I want to quickly isolate all my 1Ds, I can do that. Or say I want to quickly or like isolate all my 3Ds, I can do that. Or review all my quads and triads in a model. So today that's going to be possible right from the model browser itself. And again, another thing is you can search it here in the search bar, and the search bar is also going to give you the results. So I can even search my keywords or say my configs. And we're going to have this in the search bar also. So say a user doesn't want to have such a detailed classification listed in the model browser for some reason, they can always come here to the preference option. And now we have added this preference option. So this is going to be kept on by default. So it's going to show us the keyword level. That's the level that is under the config. So if a user doesn't want to see the keywords, they can turn it off. And all that they'll be left with is the dimensions and the configs. So that is there. With this being said, this sort of classification is made available in the subsystem browsers and in the include view as well. So if my subsystem has got elements in it, it's now going to show up in this classified format. This is a perk of having such sort of classification in model browser. And now that we have brought this functionality into the model browser, the mask browser is now deprecated because this was the kind of missing piece that was blocking us to not remove the mask browser. But now we have we have all the functionalities available in the model browser, like more than what a mask browser does. So we have deprecated it, meaning it's no longer available for use to the users. So that's about element categorization in model browser. Moving on to the next one. So this is a quick enhancement that was made in the card editor. A quick recap here is card editor went in 2023, and it was a replacement to the legacy card edit panel. So basically now we display this new sort of card editor where it's going to have two portions. The top one is going to show you the fields that resemble how it's going to get written out in the solver deck. And in the bottom portion, we are giving the users controlling attributes. So they can use it and it's going to reflect in the top portion. Now, one of the controlling attributes is the card image. So this was kind of made not editable in 2023, keeping all the performance factors in mind. So after all the enhancements, now it's available and a user can quickly edit the card image right when they are inside the card editor. Switch here and I'm going to show it in the product. So say I am going to do an edit here. So a user gets this and here the card image is now editable. So say I'm changing it to mat 4, it changes and these controlling attributes is what I was talking. So it's going to reflect there. A user is inside the card editor and they can change it directly here. So they can change a card when they're inside the card editor. And the other use case is with this new type of card editor into the product, we have also given the user the ability not only to select a particular entity, but also to create them. So when I create it here, it's going to navigate me to the newly created entity. And of course, it's going to give me the default card. So say user doesn't want to have that default for some reason, they can always go here. And now that this card image is made editable, they can edit it right from the card editor. So previously a user was not able to do this. All that they had to go do was go here and use the entity editor to edit the card image. But now when a user simply enters into the card editor, they can pretty much do everything which they were previously able to do inside the entity editor. So that is card image being editable functionality. Next up is a preference option update with the browser and the idle selector sync. So this feature also went in a couple of releases back. And a quick background about this would be that this, as the name suggests, would sync the browser and the idle. So whatever entity, so the user basically had only two options: to always have the two-way sync on or to never have them in the product. But we have introduced one-way sync also. So we have updated the preference option, and now it's going to show us these four options in the preference box so that a user would have more degree of freedom while using or navigating in a session. So I have some of the browsers open, and by default, the preference option is always going to be set to always. So say I have my browsers open and this is two-way sync. So if I open any browser, it's going to sync my idle to that. And vice versa, if I have the browsers open and if I select any other entity, it's also going to sync it to that. So this is the two-way sync that the product had. But we have introduced this one-way sync. So when I say only on browser switch, the idle is going to respond to whatever browser is made active. So the vice versa is not possible. So if I pick a property here, even though the idle is set active to properties, it's not going to sync with the property browser, though it is up in the entity views. So that is the one-way sync. And the other one-way sync is the vice versa of this. It's going to switch only on idle selector. I have my property set in the idle selector, and if the browser view is up, it's going to switch it to the respective entity view. And the vice versa again here is not possible. So say I pick materials here, then my idle selector is not going to react to that. So in this way, we are giving users a more degree of freedom to play with the model or to use it whenever these options come handy and necessary. Moving on to the next one is the rename by ID enhancement. So this tool is available in the product and we have made a couple of enhancements here. Say I pick my entity and I want to rename it. So first thing to notice here would be there is no longer this fixed format. So previously when this tool popped up, we gave the users a fixed format that they had to follow in order to rename their ID. But now that's removed. And to start with, it's made it's no longer case sensitive, so my ID doesn't have to be in caps anymore. I can give it like this, and if I hit OK, it's going to append my ID to the entity name. And the second thing is I can pretty much have any prefix and suffix available now. So say I'm going to give it as load underscore test, and then I'm going to give ID again. So it's going to pick any prefix that you give, or same way goes for the suffix. So that degree of freedom has been given to the users now. And the next is, say I pick multiple entities and then I rename them. So I rename all the entities with the same name, but it's automatically going to append the numbers in ascending order here. So this is like for multiple rename multiple entity use case where a user wants to rename them all at once. Then the last one is we have now given the users freedom to store whatever strings that they use within a session so that they no longer have to type it every time. So they can go here and call it, provided they are in the current session, and simply use it and rename. So that is with the rename by ID. With that being said, jumping on to some minor enhancements here. So most of them being the enhancements that were done on context menu options. So the first one is the entity default dialog option. So we only gave the entity default context menu option at a single entity level, be it in the entity view or in the model browser when we have the entities on. This has been now been enhanced, and now we provide the user the ability to invoke it right from the model browser at subfolder levels, or when they have multiple entities selected, provided they're of the same keyword. User can pretty much invoke this dialog right when they're in the model browser, that for multiple entities. Obviously, when they invoke the dialog, they can be setting their mandatory fields or give the default value for a particular field that they want, or hide the fields that they don't want to see in that particular entity. All this can be done now right from the model browser. So that is this one. And then empty includes. So here we have this empty context option available in the include view, which pretty much posted a dialog and gave us or listed the entities that were empty inside that particular include. But it's now updated, and when you hit empty, it's not only going to list the entities that are empty in that include, but also give you if there are any empty includes inside the include itself. So it's going to help identify if there are any empty includes, and you can quickly delete them when you're in the session. That is this. And then we have this parameter context menu update. So previously, as you can see here, it was kind of cluttered up. Now it's more clear, made more clear to the user. So when a user adds a particular an attribute as a column in the browser and they have the parameter thing, they now see all these options listed clear, which is resembling how the entity editor is showing. I'll just go to the product and we can quickly see all these. Okay, so here I have my materials and I can invoke my entity defaults from here. I can set certain fields mandatory or given a default value or hide some. So this is that field. So you can invoke it at this level, or say I go to the entity view and I pick multiple entities and we are still going to get this. So the same can be done via here also. So that was the first thing that we did. And then say I go to my includes browser, and then if I hit empty, it now not only lists the empty entities inside the model, but also gives you the empty include file that if at all is present in the model. So you can pick it and delete it right from here. So that is that context menu update. And then the parameter context menu is this. So I have my attribute and it has a parameter, and I can clearly see all the options listed here. Those were the highlights that we wanted to show from the browser side, apart from other fixes, apart from other issues that were fixed. So with that, I would be concluding. Thank you so much, everybody, for your patient listening.